Alright, let's go to Minmus. So this is just a quick tutorial video for UNL to help you get to Minmus, since you're having some issues with it. Just starting the hangar here. I know I wanted to go start this a little bit later into the process here, but I just wanted to show you a couple things that are going to make things a lot better for you. First of all, in your landing struts, you can right click on them, start retracted. Now when you save the vessel, now that's always going to be retracted. You're never going to have to right click on the launch pad again and fix that yourself. Next thing, on your solid rocket boosters, you're going way too fast at launch, buddy. You're wasting way too much fuel. So we're going to dial these solid rocket boosters down to like 35 or 36, somewhere in there. And that's going to make them last a lot longer. And since we're not going to be pressing against the atmosphere as hard, we're also going to save a lot more fuel. Actually, I'm going to make like 40. I added some stuff to the spacecraft. Oh, I need one more thing. Don't get mind flooded by all these parts I have here. I just have it set on sandbox mode, so I can just get to where we need to go. There's also all sorts of mods installed, but none of them actually affect gameplay. So this process is still going to be the same. There's just a lot of stuff on the screen that might mind flood you. Just don't worry about it. Alright, so let's go. Like also like facing around. There we go. Let's get this gravity turn done. Your gravity turn's important. I know you want to get to space as fast as possible. And going straight up feels like it's the best thing to do. It's not. You're wasting so much potential energy there, man. Wasting your gravity turn. You gotta do the gravity turn. So the best way to figure out if your rocket boosters are going too fast or not is if you start getting this wind effect. If you have the wind effect, that means you're going too fast. Same goes for the fire effect too. So even this thing's going too fast. So throw those off. No big deal. And we're gonna throttle down on this one because we don't want that wind effect. That's bad news. That's just wasting fuel. Alright, there we go. We can slowly throttle up as we get higher up here, as we continue our gravity turn. Gotta do the gravity turn. See how much smaller my rocket is compared to yours? This is more than, I don't know if it's more than enough. It's enough to get us to Minmus. Don't need that big old giant one. Alright, so then we're just going to continue upward here until we get to Apple Apps. So one big thing people are trying to point out in your comments, you have this little tab down here that opens up the nav bar on this screen. That'll allow you to navigate using this map screen instead of having to zoom in and out of your spacecraft all the time. So as such, so you can get up to like 85,000, 86,000. I'm just going to stop and throttle here. Still have about half of our supply in this, and I'll just tell Jeb here to point prograde for now. And then we're going to try to get to the Apple Apps. Ah, geez, I have a train coming. Oh, geez. I can mute the mic, but I'm gonna wait till I have to. Well, you know this next part. We just gotta get into orbit. So I'm gonna mute the microphone while the train passes. All we're gonna do is we're just gonna circularize our orbit. You've done that before. No big deal. Oh god, the microphone didn't mute. Ah. Okay, it was like the one time that the train didn't like honk right outside my door. I have a train track like literally across the street. And it likes to honk right outside the door. And it's a bad time. I missed the Apple Apps a little bit. If you want to pull your Apple Apps back up, if it looks like you're going to start falling towards the planet, you can just pull to the left and it'll help your apoaps catch back up. There we go. Now the apoaps is back ahead of us again. We're good to go back towards the prograde here. This orbit circularized. Oh, I ran out of fuel on the stage a little bit earlier than I wanted. All right. Ah, shit. Cut throttle. All right. So, the big difference between Minmus and the Mun, and the reason that you weren't able to have an approach with it, is what you can see is if you lower your view here, Minmus is completely on this really skewed orbit. It's not like the moon that's the Mun that's rotating directly around our equator. This one's on a very skewed orbit. So what you got to do to fix that, you got to click on it, set it as the target, and now you're going to find out what this ascending and descending node are. I'm not going to get into the scientific meaning of what they are, but what you'll see is it says this one is negative 5.8. We put a maneuver here node, and if we pull up on this one, this means that we're going to throttle upwards as opposed to like prograde or something. Oop. What happens? Oh, fuck, I'm going too quick. Well, you can see that sorry. So it's 5.8 right now. Start tugging on this bad boy. 5.4, 5.3, 4.7, 4. Basically what we want to do is we want to get this down to 0, or as close to 0 as we can get it. We don't have to worry about it being exactly correct, but the closer to 0 the better. And usually what that'll mean is once these two are on 90 degrees of where they started, that's typically 0. Negative 0.1, that's good enough. Let's go. So we'll get pointed on our maneuver node here. And we'll get to the node, or to the point. Let's go. Okay, good enough. Alright, good enough. So what that did is it made it so our orbit is as skewed as Minmus's orbit is now. So that will help us get to where we need to be. So next step, put down our maneuver node and try to get there. This part you were doing right, you just didn't have that skewed orbit, which is making it so you never reached the Minmus. So there's those Croesus approach markers, and we just need to move around our node until we find our intercept. It's always like really hard to click on this damn maneuver node without clicking on one of the other directions. Oh, I'm going like way too fast. There's the moon. We'll go to the moon. Wanna go to the moon. Not loop. Alright, let's go. There's the Minmus encounter. So now what we can do is we can try to kind of finagle it to try to get the more efficient encounter. Like, we want to go as slow as we can. That way we're not burning as much fuel to get there. For one thing. So here, oh geez, there's so many. Maneuver nodes can be really confusing. Like, there's way too many little pop-ups here. But say in our Minmus periaps right now is 1.1 million. So let's give it a little bit more speed and see what that does for us. That brought it down to 807,000. A little bit more speed. is it now? Periaps is 83,000 gears. That's pretty good. That's doable. So we'll just get pointed on our maneuver node, and we'll get to our spot. There's an option in the main menu, by the way, to make the snap ball stay up on the screen. Definitely press that. That will be incredibly useful. That way it doesn't disappear every time you change views. It's incredibly annoying. It used to always be up, and then they changed it. One of the updates. Let's see, we have a 1 minute burn. This is a little bit too early to burn then. Let's give it a little bit more time. The estimated burn time is not always right until you're completely throttled up. That's why I did that little test burn there. So we need to get to like 30 seconds. That's probably good enough then. So we'll just do this burn. It'll seem like it'll take forever for this first part, but it'll slowly go up faster and faster. My leg is falling asleep. A little bit of a problem. I'm gonna pray that it happened to you. The first time I launched it on like a test video just to make sure I could do this, it worked fine. And I forgot to have life support mods installed, so I had to stick on some life support onto my ship, which made it heavier, causing me some issues. It's fine, all I gotta do is show you the how to get here. We don't actually have to... going too fast, going too fast. Here's the encounter. So now instead of using the maneuver node, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it to try to get the lowest periaps. Right now, Minmus periaps is 795,000. Alright, so now we have a 25,000 meter periaps. That's great. That's really, really good. Okay. Make sure my solar panel gets some light from the sunlight. I have to have that sunlight to survive with the life support mod installed. And let's go. So the earlier you can try to get your encounter as low as possible, the more fuel you'll save in the end. And that kind of process works for the moon as well. Sorry though. There's some kind of glitch with life support making the electricity say it's depleted even though it's completely not. You can see I have 300 now. It gets rid of the time acceleration when that happens. We'll just do this carefully and try not to speed up into infinity and beyond here. And here comes our encounter. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright. So now you just do the same thing you would do for the moon, basically. But I'll still demonstrate it here, I guess. By the way, the best thing to do, instead of trying to make this go straight into the moon right here, what we want to do is we want to go to our periaps and then slow down. That'll save us the most fuel. So getting to Minmus is harder than getting to the moon, but landing on Minmus is easier than landing on the moon. It's a very small planet with very low gravity. By the way, you'll want to be doing all your science and stuff, of course, through this whole process. So there it is, Minmus. You can see we're already going like really slow. Oh geez, my spacecraft is like super responsive right now. It's actually a little bit hard to control. So we'll cut our velocity here. Just do your standard landing procedure. And of course, getting back from the Minmus is easier than getting back from the moon as well because of the lower gravity thing. All right, actually went a little bit too, got a little bit too far there. Let's try to get that retrograde marker back to the center there. You did figure that out. That was cool. Good enough for now. And yes, it is a lot easier to land if you can just tell them to point retrograde. Didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately. Let's deploy our landing gear now. And let's land. So one mistake you're making when you're landing on the moon is doing like a constant slow burn to try to get to the surface is not the way to do it. That wastes fuel. The ideal situation for landing on anything, in this case a moon, is getting as close as you can to the planet and firing your engine at the absolute last second, basically. It's called a suicide burn, and basically it's just throttling up at just the right pace so that you'll reach zero velocity as soon as you reach the surface. Of course, that's not very easy to do, but that's just the most ideal way to do it. So what we're going to do is just get as close as we can until it feels safe. By the way, there's an option in the settings called terrain scatters, which will make these rocks start showing up. And that'll help you kind of judge how close you are to the surface. Yeah, I'm going to slow down a little bit first. This isn't my suicide burn, but it is worth doing there. But then I'm going to cut it all again. Minmus also has a nicer surface to land on. It's like a lot more smooth and less cratered. It's especially good if you can land in the big flat plain areas. This isn't one of those, but it's still not too bad. Alright, so here we go. We're getting close to the surface. You can see these rocks. And of course your shadow is also a good way to figure it out. Just save. I think I will tell her to set to, or Jebediah to set to retrograde here. I don't feel like we're going straight down. Oh shit, this is orbit. I don't know why that happened. I'm not gonna panic though. I don't know why it didn't set to the surface. It's supposed to automatically set itself to the surface. Apologize for that. I don't know if this thing can get home with the amount of fuel it has left. The main thing was just getting here. That was the purpose of this video. Landing wasn't the purpose of the video. Just doing it to do it. What is... And we've done it. He's done it. Alright. I need to show you how to get home. Or do you want to get home on your own? I don't know if I have enough fuel to get home, really. I can try. Of course, you'll want to do all your science and stuff. Don't forget to do that. And you want to turn over to the east basically as soon as you can. This goes for the moon, too. Since there's no atmosphere, you don't have to worry about getting up high. You just need to get around. Gotta get into orbit at least. Let's do this till I get an apoapse. It seems fine. I think the tallest mountain on Minmus is like 15 kilometers up. So let's do like that much. I'm not going to bother with maneuver node. We don't need it quite yet. Let's go to our Apple apps, and then I will prograde again. The engine again. Don't think Jebediah is getting home this time, but... Alright, so the best way to get home, whether you're on Minmus or the moon, is you want to burn retrograde when you are between the moon and the planet. So for us, that's going to be here-ish. Be better if I had an equatorial orbit to do it, but this is probably about as close as we can to between Kerbin and this moon. Actually, technically, we might not even want to burn retrograde. No, retrograde will work there. We'll burn retrograde here. You have to do it quite a bit. So there's our orbit expanding around Minmus. Then we slow down more and more and more. There it is, leaving Minmus. There's our really big orbit around Kerbin. Slow down more. Orbit will get pulled down. Oh. Okay, I guess since it isn't equatorial, it's actually not going to be the easiest maneuver to do. What I'm going to have to do is when I get here, I can't quite burn directly retrograde. I need to burn on this east to west vector that isn't really there. Let's do it. This is turning into not a short video, I realize. But again, don't have to watch the whole thing. You know how to get to orbit. You know how to get home. Just kind of trying to proof of concepts. Alright, so I gotta eyeball this one. Sort of need to burn retrograde, but not. Yeah, we need to burn like 170 mark here. Where we need to burn. I just don't have enough fuel to get home, it seems. Ah, well. The proof of concept was made. You know how to get here. It's just my rocket didn't have enough fuel. But now you know how to get here. You know some tips and tricks about like retracting the landing gear and the assembly bay and stuff. So hopefully that helps. I hope you all enjoyed and have a good day.